It's 2 a.m. You have to be up in 5 hours? You know this. Your body knows this. But your brain has decided that right now, at this exact moment, is the perfect time to replay that awkward thing you said at a party 3 years ago. And then your tax return. And then that unanswered text. And then something you didn't even know you were worried about until just now. You're not anxious. You're not stressed. You were fine all day. So why does your brain wait until the lights go off to turn everything on? The answer goes deeper than stress, deeper than caffeine, deeper than your phone screen. It goes all the way back to a survival system your ancestors built in the dark. One that was never designed to let you rest easy. And tonight, it's running exactly as intended. The room is dark. The house is quiet. Your body is still. And your brain picks this exact moment to ask, did you lock the front door? You did. You always do. But now you're not sure. Now you have to think about it. This is not a coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is your brain doing precisely what it was built to do. And the timing is not random at all. Here's what's actually happening. During the day, your brain is flooded with input, sound, light, tasks, conversations, decisions. Every second, thousands of signals compete for your attention, and your brain has to constantly choose what to focus on. This competition is actually protective. All that noise crowds out the quieter signals, the low-level worries, the unresolved questions, the things you filed away under deal with later. Psychologists call this the cognitive load effect. When your mental bandwidth is full, smaller anxieties simply can't break through. But then, the day ends, the noise stops, the input disappears, the competition goes silent, and every thought you suppressed, every worry you outran, every question you postponed, they don't disappear with the noise. They were just waiting for the quiet. Neuroscientists at UC Berkeley found that during light sleep and the transition into sleep, the brain's prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation, begins to power down first. Before you're fully asleep, before you've lost consciousness, the part of your brain that keeps things calm and logical is already going offline. What's left? The amygdala, the part that processes threat, the part that has been scanning for danger since before your ancestors had language. So in that window, lights off, body still, rational mind stepping back, your threat detection system finds itself alone in a quiet room with nowhere else to look. So it looks inward. That unanswered email becomes a problem. That conversation from Tuesday becomes evidence. That vague sense that something is wrong becomes something you need to solve right now at 2 a.m. with no resources, no information, and no ability to actually do anything about it. This is why overthinking at night feels so urgent, so real, so impossible to dismiss. It's not anxiety inventing problems. It's an ancient alarm system finally getting a clear signal and treating everything it finds as a potential threat. And here's the part that makes it worse. The more you try to stop thinking, the louder the thoughts get. Psychologist Wegner called this ironic process theory. When you tell your brain don't think about this, it has to first identify the thought in order to suppress it. And in identifying it, it activates it. The suppression becomes the spotlight. So you're lying in the dark, telling yourself to stop thinking about that thing, which means you are now thinking about that thing more than you were before you told yourself to stop. Your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what suppression systems do under low stimulation. It is working perfectly for a world that no longer exists. Because here is the design behind the malfunction. For most of human history, nighttime was the most dangerous part of the day. Predators move in the dark. Enemies approach in the dark. Fires go out in the dark. The group is most vulnerable in the dark. An ancestor who fell into deep, peaceful, uninterrupted sleep the moment the sun set was an ancestor who might not wake up. So evolution built a buffer A period of heightened internal review before true sleep. A nightly audit of unresolved threats, pending problems, and things that might go wrong. The brain that ran this audit survived longer, passed on more, built the world. You are the descendant of the overthinkers, the ones who lay awake running through scenarios, the ones who couldn't just switch off. Their restlessness kept them alive. Yours is just running the same program in a world where the predators are gone but the software remains. There is one more piece to this that almost nobody talks about. Research from the University of Texas found that the thoughts that visit us at night are disproportionately unfinished. Not the things we resolved, not the things we completed, the things we started and left open. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik Effect, the brain's tendency to hold on to incomplete tasks and return to them until they are closed. During the day, there's always something else pulling attention forward. A new task, a new input, a next thing. At night, the incomplete things have nowhere to hide. So your brain cycles back, and back, and back. Not because it is trying to torture you, but because it is trying to finish something. It is trying to find the resolution it never got. This is why making a list before bed, writing down the unfinished things and giving them a container works better than most sleep advice. It doesn't solve the problems. It tells your brain, these are recorded. They are held somewhere outside of you. You do not need to keep them active. The audit can stop for the night. Tomorrow, your brain can return to the noise of the day. The inputs will return. The competition will crowd out the quiet. And all the things waiting in the dark will go back to where they live. Underneath everything, patient, waiting for the next quiet room to find them. Tonight, when the lights go off, notice the moment the thoughts arrive. Don't fight them. Don't tell them to stop. Just recognize them for what they are. Old signals from an old system, doing the only thing they know how to do. Keeping you alive in the dark, even when the dark is just your bedroom, even when you're already safe, even when the only predator in the room is your own memory of a Tuesday afternoon you can't let go of.